So on today's episode, I found myself in Ross Cemetery, which is in Oklahoma. And as you can hear, there's dogs in the background. It's a little cemetery surrounded by a few different houses. And it is currently like 105 degrees out at about 7 o'clock p.m. So it's super hot. It's one of the reasons why I'm here so late in the day. But it kind of makes it difficult because like literally the sun is it's setting right over there. But I really like this cemetery. This is probably the second time I've been here. I didn't film the first time because I was here before even Cemetery Road started. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about this cemetery was this very large family plot that's right behind me, which belongs to the Ross family, which is what this cemetery is named for. There's a lot of history on this site. I'm going to leave links in the description of the video so you guys can look up the history of those who are buried here. It's really interesting. I'm trying to hit a lot of cemeteries today, so I don't have time to go into it right now, but I always encourage you guys to check out any links I may leave in the description of our videos. Now, another thing I wanted to show you about this family plot is, one, it's rather large. We have several graves in here, all different kinds and styles. But one of the things I wanted to kind of draw our attention to is the actual site itself. It's really, really well done. There's some parts that could use a little work. Obviously, it's been a while. But then there's parts of it that I'm just like, man, this was ingenious. So let me show you a couple of those things. So here's the entrance. As you can see, we have a placard that tells us a little bit about the site and the very large family plot surrounded by the stone wall and the ironwork, which is probably the part that is the worst off in terms of it's got some growth on it. Some of these spikes obviously are missing, but for the most part, it's really solid. Not much seems to be like falling down or a problem really. But one of the things I really like is this massive gate that we have that leads into the site, and it's got a stone walkway. And as you can see, a metal railing to which this wheel can go upon, so that this gate can easily open and shut, and it could be locked up if needed. But I really, really like that design, and that really showed me that the person who designed this really cared for not only its form, but its function as well. Now, in this family plot, we have a very large, as you can see, tower right there, a pillar, which is broken off at the top, and it's got like a ornamental wreath kind of designed into it. The pillar that's broken off signifies a life that ended too soon, naturally. And so we have that, as well as your usual, tombstones, grave markers. But then we also have the beds, which mark where the person was buried, which I really appreciate. And then we have a couple more of those smaller beds here, and they're smaller most likely because those are children. I haven't had a chance to really look at the stones and see the information, but most likely those were children. And then we have a tabletop memorial right here with the inscription on top, and then it's hovering above the ground on those pillars. I find that really interesting, and it's one of the reasons why I like this family location, is because they all have their own unique kind of design and style, and it makes this area really, really interesting, and makes you want to come in and learn more about this spot. There's one other thing I want to show you guys before we leave, and it's a memorial right over here. So let's go take a look at that. Now, I've seen this a lot in a lot of cemeteries, and it's a site, a memorial plot that has a wall built around it, generally a stone either within or directly right outside of it, kind of telling you who is buried there. And generally there tends to be a lot of growth in these things because somebody will have planted a plant or a tree or something to that extent, and it has grown over time. This is no different. This one is covered. This sun, man. This one is covered in foliage. You can't even really see inside of it. There's so much growth coming out. But one of the things I wanted to draw our attention to, not so much the growth, which I find kind of cool, it's the deterioration of this wall. It is falling apart, and eventually this thing will kind of collapse in or out of itself, which I will be totally sad to see. There's another cemetery coming up probably in a few weeks or so that has a lot of these kind of sites, and unfortunately most of them are deteriorating quite badly. So we'll see more of that, unfortunately, as we travel through the stones. But that's all I have here. It is, guys, it is so hot, and I have several other cemeteries I want to get to. So remember, when you're out wandering amongst the stones, remember, as always, be safe, be respectful, and I'll see you on the next one.